We have today three subjects in our agenda. First is that we would like to pass the word in a short while to IOF Vice President Tatiana Kalondaroglu. Then after that, we have the team officials meeting for the lunch and the relay. And at the end, we will have a short presentation talk from the next year's JWalk in Portugal. So these are the three subjects, and we now start with the first subject. So I will pass the words to Tatiana Kalondaroglu.
Hello, everybody, and I would like to have a few minutes of your attention, and after that you will get all technical information you need for long distance. I need to remind you about the existence of code of ethics in IOF, and I want to tell you how it was created. It was not something created by IOF office or IOF council to just be a set of rules and regulations. In 2017, the IOF was approached by an athlete participating in JWalk regarding the practices with team representations and and top 10 lists being considered as a potential sexual harassment. After JWalk 2018, a case being forwarded to the IOF ethic panel by one of the member federations. This resulted in the approval of the IOF policy on sexual harassment and abuse and the resolution at the IOF General Assembly in Prague in October 2018, which was anonymously approved and supported by all federations. These actions were specifically driven by a targeted at what had happened at JWalk. This is how the IOF policy on sexual harassment and abuse was created. JWalk 2019 afterwards went very well, and we thought that the case is handled, and we hope that we reach a mutual understanding. 2020, we did not have any JWalk, but this year, a few days ago, after JWalk had been started, here the IOF office was informed about the existence of special Instagram JWalk party account and several teams' presentation on this account. These were found to be inappropriate and not in line with IOF policy by those participants who contacted the IOF. When the account was reviewed, and indeed it was found that it is not in line with IOF policy, mostly because of attempt of creating top 10 list and planning an after party with alcohol included and gathering everybody at the same place. As much as we don't want to be a bad police, the IOF Council and management is responsible for adhering to the decisions of the ethic panel and General Assembly and take this responsibility seriously. You are all experienced coaches and teachers, and you know how to communicate with youngsters better than I do. And I hope you can bring my message to them. Youngsters want to have fun. It is normal behavior for that age. But the important thing is to have fun in a way that won't disturb other people's privacy. Not everybody wants to have fun in the same way. Yes, you are young and full of energy, but at the same time, you're grown up enough to be responsible for your behavior. It is an official IOF competition, and you are representing your country. There won't be organized party, and if the team won't be active as a player, it is understandable. There will be no police running around chasing for sportsmen. But do not forget that we need to obey court restrictions and control the level of alcohol taking. We are lucky to be able to have this plan at this critical time. Let's enjoy our presence here, enjoy the races, but still, let's do not forget about IOF policy, which was approved by your federations. Good luck with competitions and enjoy terrain tomorrow.
Thank you, Tatiana. Any comments? In that case, we will continue with the long and relay team officials meeting.
Abi şeye baksana. Kumanda. Açık kenar.
So first, we would like to congratulate the medal winners of the medley distance. From Sweden, Hanna Lundberg, from Switzerland, Ludwig Driver, and from Sweden again, Silva Östberg, and for the men, Axel Elmberg of Sweden, Victor Svensk of Sweden, and Philip Jonas of Hungary. Congratulations. And today we will not do the roll call, so we will continue to the next slide. Here is some information for the teams about the parking tomorrow. We have changed the parking area for the teams. The same parking area will be used for both long and relay. This means you have now new distances tomorrow and in the relay. You will have from the parking to the team zone a walk of 100 meters, and from the team zone to the arena, you will have another walk of 100 meters, and from the parking to the quarantine, both days, you will have a walk of 200 meters. And for the long and the relay, for the team officials that are going to the quarantine, you will see the team zone from the parking, and after you leave the quarantine, you can walk back to the team zone. Team officials going to the team zone can go to the team zone and back to parking at all times. The parking is very close to the competition area, so please respect signs and tapes. And the parking area is quite small. If it is filled, some teams will be requested to take their car to another car park announced by the organizers, and then the team official will have to walk back. So you can drop off your athletes at the first parking, but then you may have, as a team official, to go back to place your car in another parking area. Important information about the map print for the long distance. As you can see, there is an area with an olive green. You can see it on the map to the right. You can see this path going through. We have chosen to mark this area in the terrain with red and white, yellow, black stripes, which is there fully shown on in the terrain. Unfortunately, this is only shown on the men's map and not on the women's map. So the only olive green you can see in the map without a clear boundary, as you can see here on the map, then the women should know that there will be tapes that are not shown on their map. Another information about the control description. The last control we can say is number 100. So there is a mistake in the control description. You can see an arrow which should not be there. So on the top, you can see what is currently shown in the control description. In the bottom, you can see what it should have been. And then further information about the quarantine for the long. It will open at 7:45 and it will close at 9:45. Which is 45 minutes later than the first start, because we do not want your athletes to be too long time in the quarantine. This means that coaches that decide to enter the quarantine, they can't leave until after 9:45. So you cannot, as a coach, come at 8 o'clock and then leave at 8:10. When you have entered the quarantine, you have to stay there until after 9:45. And of course, as a coach, when you have left the quarantine, you can never go back. We have some paths on dark green in the map that are not so visible in the terrain. So we have decided to tape with white red stripes hanging in the trees to make the path more clear to see in the terrain. And line between the last control and the finish is not on the map, but it is clearly understandable when you get there. So about the map for the long distance, There will be a warm-up map for long distance, but during the competition, there is a possibility that athletes may take a route choice that will bring them close to the quarantine and warm-up area. So we decided to tape all quarantine and warm-up area with white red tapes to avoid contact between runners and race and also those in the quarantine. So you will see from the quarantine map that there is tape all around the quarantine area. And as always, the warm-up map will show the borders of the area, and there will be pre-start shown in the quarantine map. About refreshment points, as you know from the bulletin, there are for men 3 refreshment points at the controls. It is for the men 30%, 60%, and 80%. And for the women 50% and 75%. Then there will always also be 4 refreshment points on roads. So this is information from the bulletin. If a team official wants to give their athletes isotonic drinks, it is possible for you to have this done if you provide this drink yourselves. So, as team official, you must leave these drinks in the event office in the arena before 8 o'clock, and it will be in the bottle that you provide. And on the bottle, you should put the bib number, and you should put what percentage control this means for the men, if it's going to be delivered at 30%, 60%, or 80%, or for the women at 50 or 75%. This must be clearly written on the bottle. Then the organizer will make sure the bottle is brought to the right control and will be available to the athlete when the athlete arrives at the control. Talking about the arenas, we have made some clarifications that you will get. The most important thing is that you can see these arrows, how you go to the team zone and back. You can see there is a dark red line coming from the north, which is going to the finish, which is a red line. And from there, you will go to the readout as always and deliver your GPS. And then the red line shows that this is how you go back to the team zone. The team zone is shown in light red color in the right of this picture. And you can also see the blue arrows. These are showing how you will get as a team official and an athlete to get to the spectator area, which is on the left side. There you can see the shops, the cafe, and the first aid area. So if you want to follow the race and watch a big screen, then you have to go to that side following the blue arrows. Eventually, when we get to the medal ceremony, you can see the top red, dark red line showing that there will be a possibility to going from the team zone directly to the podium. So there's only a short walk for you and your athletes when we get to the medal ceremony. So this is just to get you some additional information about the arena, as you will find it tomorrow. And for the relay, you can see it's the same layout. The most important thing you can see here is now you can see there is a dotted line just beside the team zone. You already saw this in your bulletin, and this shows that this is how the athletes will come from the quarantine into the changeover area. So what the athletes will do when they are allowed to go to the changeover zone, they will follow this dark blue line, and they will get to the changeover area. And you can see there is a green triangle with blue dotted lines in the top right corner of the changeover area. We will get back to this in a short while in one of the next slides. This is about the map delivery. But this is just a clarification about the relay, and you can also see that there is a dark red line going from the last control to the finish line, and then you go to the changeover area, changeover, and then the next athlete will go to the start triangle, as you can see to the right in the bottom of this slide. So you can study this slide to get a clarification about how the arena is going to look tomorrow. Then we have the explanation about the changeover for the relay. The relay is changed compared to the changeover is changed compared to what you have seen in the bulletin, because we have decided that we will not have a map wall where the athletes will run to the map wall. Instead, we will use the same principle as you may have seen in the World Championships this year. So what is done is that when the second and the third leg athletes are coming from the quarantine and they get to this green triangle you just saw before, they will receive their map. And this map, of course, will be rolled so they cannot see anything. And they may proceed then to the changeover area where they will wait for their previous runner. When the previous runner arrives, they will be touched by their runner, and at that time, they can open the map and start their race. So this is what is said. Map will be rolled up and they can take away the elastic band only after the touch of their teammates. Mass start places has been changed and moved to after the changeover area. And then we have the timetable for the relay. At 10, we have the mass start for the women, and 11:15, we have the mass start for the men. And we'd like to emphasize the mass start times for late women teams that have not yet started on second or third leg at 11:40. Then they will have their mass start at that time. And the same with the men. If they have not started their second or third leg at 1 o'clock, then there will be a mass start at 1 o'clock. And after the finish of the women's relay, official results for women will be published and complaint time of 15 minutes will start. And then we want the prize giving ceremony not to be too late, so we do not want all teams to finish before we do the prize giving ceremony. So what we will do is that when we have the finish of the top 10 men, which is the last relay, we will publish provisional results of the first 10 teams. And at that moment, we will start the 15 minutes complaint time for those first 10 teams. And after that, we will proceed to the medal ceremony in order for you not to stay too long in the arena to wait for the very last team to arrive in the arena. And at the end of the men's competition, there will be another 15 minutes time for complaints, and this will be allowed for, yes, of course, will be allowed for all teams to make this complaint. And actually, we will tell you that we will do a similar thing in the long distance. So when we get to the time in the long distance where we have the top 10 decided, which means that there's no chance that an athlete in the forest is going to be in the top 10. There may be some athletes that will be in the forest for quite a long time. So we do not want you to have to wait for a very long time in the arena until the last athlete has come to finish before we can do the medal ceremony. So that is why when the first 10 men is decided, since there's no longer anyone in the forest that can be in the top 10, then we will announce the 15 minutes complaint time for the provisional results at that time. So that after those 15 minutes, we will start preparing for the medal ceremony, even though there probably will still be some athletes out in the forest. We continue with the long and relay, showing that there are some stands in the open grass area, which is not shown on the map, and you can see on the picture what it looks like. Information about dogs. You may hear some dogs barking, but the owners will tie them in their house. And please do not look at the last sentence here. So we will do whatever we can to make sure that the dogs are taken away from the terrain. You may also see some cows on the terrain. They are really peaceful and they can be passed without risk. And then we have a map correction for the long that we believe is of importance to tell you about. If you look at the red area, you can see that this red area has very recently been cut, which means that that area looks exactly the same as you can see the area with the green vertical lines. And you can see from the photo what it looks like. We have a lot of branches lying on the ground in this area. And we wanted to tell you about this because some athletes may be surprised that the vertical green lines area with the vertical green lines is actually larger than shown on the map. There may be other areas where you have some work done in the forest by forestry. We cannot guarantee that, but we have chosen to show this particular spot since we found this was of particular importance. And now we get to the questions and answers. And the first is, today there were two different signalizations from the main road towards the area of the long and relay. Which signs should we follow for long and relay? The answer is that the signs you will see tomorrow will take you the right way to the arena. And just to make sure that you get additional information, the way to the arena is going further up the road from where you parked today in the long model event. Then we have a question saying, please postpone entry deadline for relay until 4 o'clock because we need to see competitor situation after long distance. And some of us in quarantine with no internet at 12. But this will not be possible for the organizers, so you have to enter relay teams before 12. But you may change the teams until 4 o'clock by contacting the event office in the arena. So if you have an athlete that's injured or anything like that, you still have a chance to change your team, but you have to enter your teams at 12 o'clock as stated in the bulletin. It's been asked if it is possible to put mixed teams to the relay. The answer is yes. We ask you to set those relays and then enter them the same way as you will enter other teams. In model map and terrain, some parts were on map and not visible on terrain, and some were opposite. Is it same way on competition map? And the answer is the mapping style for model and the competition map is the same. So what is the rules for watches, GPS watches? And we have some additional information since the beginning of JWalk. Some runners run with GPS, and some are unauthorized to run with basic non-GPS watches. We're not really sure about the last sentence and the questions, but we can tell you that you can only run with watches without GPS, which means that if you do run with a watch which actually turns out to have a GPS, then you're in risk of being disqualified. Start interval, 3 minutes as in the bulletin, or 2 minutes as usual. The 3 minutes in the bulletins was unfortunately a mistake. So as you can see in the start lists that are already published, the start interval is 2 minutes. So what time is the first time, and could you confirm that quarantine closes at 9:45? And we believe that we answered this in the previous slides. Is there a map change at the long competition race? The answer is no. What exactly will be at the refreshment controls? Water in cups, in bottles, open bottles, and it will be the same as the middle final just after the control before the passing of the arena, and it will be pure water in the bottles. The question is whether there is a field up during the race, and there is no information about this. Is a refreshment control marked with the cup symbol on the map in control description, or both? And it is both. Will there be enough tents in the quarantine or a covered area, a building? The answer is yes. Are all dark green runnings in one direction oriented to north or on the running direction? And we have no information about this. Is there a refreshment point during the arena passage? No, but there is a coaching zone, which means that if you want to give your athlete something to drink, this is possible. How is the map handed out at the start of the relay for the first leg runners? And we answered this in a previous slide. They have road map in their hand before them. Oh, so no, we didn't answer this, sorry. They will get the road map in their hand before the mass start. How are controls numbered on the map? 1.31, for example? No, there will only be 1, 2, 3, etc., as you usually see in individual competitions. Could you please give us the weather forecast for the next 2 days? And I'm not sure we managed to look this up because we really have a lot of questions, but of course you will all be able to look at this on the internet. I believe the last time I looked, it would be reasonably warm and not very much wind, but we propose that you will actually look at the internet to check this. We probably will update also these slides before we publish with the recent weather forecast. And we have some more about relay entries, and I think we already answered these questions. If there's a warm-up map, if yes, how much is it related to the competition map? Middle final, it was rather confusing for the runners. And what we can say is, yes, there is a warm-up map. We told you about this earlier on. So I think we have no more information about this. Is there any forking in the courses? We got that questions earlier on, while the field-ups, and the answer is no information. What about refreshment? I think we also covered this in an earlier slide. Map flip, we also answered this. Quarantine by car possible, I'm not sure what this means, but I hope that we have answered this in a previous slide. GPS clocks, we have covered this earlier. IOF approved sport drink wear, I think we answered this as well. And now we have a question saying, we were aware of the requalification to the A final of the French athlete while looking at the start list of middle final. Why the requalification wasn't published in any official announcement by official channels? I think we will probably concentrate here on the long and the relay, and those who ask this question, we would like to answer you to this in the event office when you approach them there. The start of long distance has changed from 3 to 2 minutes. Will there be any dispersion? Sorry, I have no clue what dispersion means, so I cannot answer this question. Forking? Okay, thank you very much. We already answered this question. Why the tent of quarantine and middle distance qualization weren't ready until 9:30? We were lucky that it started raining just a few minutes later. We have already placed the tents in the quarantine today. We believe there will not be a problem because of that. We have another question about the relay teams and when it can be submitted. We believe we already answered this question. So I guess these were all the questions that we have received so far. So now it is possible to ask questions. Hopefully someone will look at the chat of the Zoom, and we also ask for questions in the room. We already have one question, so if we have a microphone, it would be great to have it given to. Well, I think the microphone is working now.
Will we return to question number 13?
We will.
There was a question about this buses which is supposed to go, yes, in one direction. I think this symbol say this direction must draw on running possibilities direction.
Okay, so what you ask about is if there are some areas, I don't remember the actual number of this IXOM signature, but saying that if you can run more easily in one direction because of vegetation, then you will have white stripes going and the white and green stripes going together. Yes. So the question is whether there will be such directions and if they will be oriented to north. And I think that I will just have to ask. The answer is that you will find no that kind of signature in the maps.
Yeah, okay. But I think change the transfer. This transfer is not correct.
That's because we were not sure what you meant. So now when you know what you meant, we can clarify the answer. Sorry, that was asked. Sorry. Okay, we have another question.
No, I wrote the question because the warm-up, the model event for the long relay was full of those areas that previously were just dark-green areas. So, and they were all related to nodes in the model event. And some were hard to read, so I was thinking maybe they will be also in the long distance overlay. But if you say that there are none, then okay, it's good.
Okay, for the best of our knowledge, this is the right answer. And if we check afterwards that we will take a look at the model event map to see what you mean. And if we find out that the answer is wrong, we will clarify the answer afterwards. The chat in the, sorry, a question in the chat is, many teams did not get official email with the link to this team official meeting. Why? Just have to answer. The answer is that we have used the same email list that we have used for all other information. So if you are not in this list, please write to the event office to ask to be on the list so that you will get the official information. We're just looking for the other questions in the chat. So, or maybe we should take a question from the room first.
You say that refreshment stations are 30, 60, 80 for men and 50, 75 for women. What about the refreshment stations on the road?
Sorry?
The women have 4 refreshment stations in long distance, and the men have 5.
Yes.
But we only have a percentage for 3 of them for men and 2 for women. So what about the others?
So if I got it correct, I just repeat the question because I'm not sure if it went to the Zoom. The question is, at what percentage point in the courses will the water stations on the roads be? Well, unfortunately, that's not so easy to say, and I think it's difficult to go more into detail about that.
Okay, another one. What percentage of the courses?
We decided to not at the moment to give this information. If we decide otherwise, we will put it in the information that we put on the internet.
If that is the best possibility for us to do runners to
Okay, it's that the 80% and the 75% refreshment points, they are both very close to the arena. So this will give you an idea of when in the course you have the arena passage. The refreshment points are just before the arena passage. We have the next question from the chat. At what time will we have coaches race after the relay? We have not yet planned this, so we will get you information about this in an email from the event office. The next question is, how will you organize the delivery of isotonic drinking bottles with names and bib numbers at the refreshment points? Can we be sure that there will be no chaos at the refreshment points where runners have to search for their bottle? Okay, we believe there will be no chaos. There will be people at this control and they will see the bib number and they will have the bottle ready. Of course, if the athlete has lost a bib number, then that might be a situation where the official needs to be told the bib number. But if the athlete has a bib number, there will be an organizer's representative at the refreshment control to make sure they get the right bottle. And we would like to add that we would like you to also put the country in what you write on the bottle, because that makes it easier for the people there to understand that now there is a person coming in the national jersey of that particular country. So please please write both the bib number and the percentage where you want it delivered and your country on the bottle. There's a question, can you put all questions and answers really fast online, as many teams could not see the sum and they can ask for additional questions? We will put the presentation on the internet as soon as possible. And the question, will the bottles stand in some order like the map chains, or will the officials bring them from some back somewhere? And I think I answered that question to the best of our ability just before. The easiest way would be to have an option of both water and sports drink at the refreshment points. Maybe that is true, but there are a lot of different opinions on what type of sports drink and isotonic drink you would like to have. So this is not as easy as it is stated here. I think this was the last question from the chat. We have additional questions here in the room, so please pass the microphone.
Maybe I was not so careful from the beginning, but did you give us the new GPS coordinate for the new car parking place?
Well, this is actually so close to the arena that you can use the coordinates for the arena.
It's really great that at least no one that gets what I got a lot of messages from different teams. They need more information. That's why participating is that cool. That's why please do bring this presentation is complete, not at this time, because there are information for preparation of the ethics, you know.
Thank you. So you got no email about the link, okay? As mentioned before, we have, as to the best of our knowledge, sent the email to the list of email recipients, but this is all we can say at the moment. And we did get the comment, thank you very much.
Will be coaches arena or coaches place marked because last races it was not marked and a lot of people coming there and the competition also don't know where to find us. So please be mark this place and it should be just for coaches.
Thank you for the comment. We will try to do it better tomorrow and the relay, at least tomorrow for now, to make sure that there is a clearly made area for the coaches for the coaching zone. Thank you for the comment.
Can I ask if the runners tomorrow will get a clean copy of the long map tomorrow as well, or will that only be given back after the relay?
They will get the map for the long distance after the race tomorrow.
Just on a totally different topic, I've seen people wearing J-Walk t-shirts. I understand that they may be available for runners to buy, or is there J-Walk t-shirts available later in the week?
The organizers plan to have a shop at the arena tomorrow or at the latest on Friday. There you can buy the shirts for the Jaywalk. And if you have further questions, you may also ask the event office about this in the arena. We have another question from the chat. When you put arena coordinates to Google Maps, it directs you through the embargo, not through the model parking location. Is this okay? We can drive there. And thank you again for this comment. No, it is not okay to come there. So you can use the Google map to see where the arena is, but you still have to follow the signs as we talked about earlier on. And we also explained that you will go to the same location as you did for the model event today, and from there you will continue on the road a few hundred more meters, maybe a few kilometers, and there you will get the right way to the arena. One more information about the driving to the event tomorrow. In the bulletin, you see the map, both for the relay and for the long, showing two different routes to the arena. And we would inform you that we want you to use the blue route going to the arena, which is the one to the right in the map. And there's a question, will you distribute the bib numbers to the hotels? Yes, we will do that as we have done in the other competitions. I think we have no more questions in the chat. We have another question in the room.
There is no possibility for me, first of all, getting to Avatar, make women realize because we have just two girls, and there is no possibility to do by Avatar, so I'm girls around on Thursday without like
I would suggest that you talk to the event office after this meeting to talk about this. I am not sure I have an answer now, and hopefully we can solve it after the meeting. Okay, any more questions? We have no questions in the chat. Then we will proceed to the third agenda item of this meeting. And this is to welcome on stage Bruno Nazario from the Portugal organizer of JWORK 2022. So please find the microphone and the floor is yours. Okay, we're just in the process of seeing if we can get a web page on the big screen. And in the meantime, I will pass the word here to Bruno.
So I would really not take a long time because you will have to go to your athletes. We are here to observe and learn a little bit for next year. Of course, we were really eager to have you in 2021 as it was supposed to be. So we are really ahead in the preparation. We have our bulletin too here in paper. So if you want, if you are not here, you can come to me to the arena tomorrow. So I can give it to you. It's all updated on the website. And just to announce that our main challenge is accommodation. So we are really planning to have an online meeting with all the coaches later in October. So then I could really explain, we can take the time to explain to you about what is the challenge with accommodation and also to present all the training camp possibilities. So please go to our website. In fact, it's my company in Portugal. We are going to manage the training camps and also the accommodation. So if you go to the website, you have a link there to register for the online meeting. Please do that, and then with time we talk in October in a relaxed way, not you are stressed to go to your athletes. So I will really not take any longer, but I will ask you to do that. Visit our website and then register for the online meeting. And we offer all tomorrow and for the relay. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruno. And I think this concludes the meeting for today. We, of course, have got the message that you want the slides from this meeting to be online as soon as possible. We will do our best to make sure this is going to happen. Thank you very much for attending. Sorry. And those of you who have written in the chat that you did not get the email for this meeting, please once again send your email address to the event office email address to make sure that all the email addresses will be in the address list that we are using to send out information to the teams. Thank you. And good luck tomorrow and on Friday.